All right, so let's talk about some things that you may have missed or may reiterate things for you in regards to this series of the World Changers Challenge. To get the most out of this webinar, this is what I want you to do. I want you to close out your other tabs. I want you to turn your phone on silent. I want you to be fully present here, because when you're here, you're going to get way more done. Respect all of our time, respect asking questions, try your best to not be poking around on other things. It's going to help you just get so much more out of this and to make massive action for your practice and for your bottom line in your business. And you're going to get more in regards to changing the world. Make sure you're here. Also, please make sure you're on my email list so that you can continue to find out about other helpful things that I'm doing to help you grow your practice. About 98% of what I do is free content to help you grow. So if you are brand new and bootstrapping it, I have 240 episodes of my podcast that are out there that are going to help you continue to start, grow, and scale your practice with innovative, mind-blowing ideas. And so if you are unsure about what to sign up for, ask that as a question down below too. Say, here's my stage of practice. What should I do next? I want to help you go beyond just writing an ebook and genuinely rock out your influence, your income, and your impact on the world. What else? Want to just make sure that you know this webinar is 45 minutes long. It's not an hour like most of mine. So I want to stay super focused and get going. So let's talk about why. Why write an ebook? Now, many of you have been participating in the World Changers Challenge. Why do you want to write an ebook? Well, there's a couple things that I want you to think about. When you've written a book, all of a sudden you become an expert. When you're introduced at things, people will say the author of, and let me share with you, it's called Adding Insurance to Your Practice. So I'm now one of the authors of this book. What we did is we took one of my old webinars, not old, last month's webinar, had it transcribed. Then I had an editor go through it, and now Allison Pigeon and then Catherine and Jeremy Zug from Practice Solutions and myself, now on Amazon, if you search Adding Insurance to a Practice, our book comes up. It's $2.99 right now. I just raised the price to $7.99, but it won't go into effect for 72 hours. So you can go grab that book if you just go on Amazon. But all we did is we repurposed content that we had structured out and taken the time to create in our webinar. What's that do for my expertise? Now, if someone goes on Amazon and they see that I am one of the authors, one of the co-authors of this book, all of a sudden I become more of an expert in their eyes. That's a really important thing when you're looking to grow your practice. As well, it helps you start to structure your ideas, help your clients get more out of things, and there's just so many things that help you when you write an ebook. It also gives you something you can give away. So if you eventually want to launch a course, so I know a lot of you have been writing about therapeutic issues like PTSD with vets. People have been talking about anxiety, sexual abuse, all these things. If you wanted to do something that goes beyond just sitting in the chair, I'm pointing at my chair in my office, and behind me is my couch. Say I just wanted to do that, that's fine, nothing wrong with that. But if you want to take this world-changing idea bigger, writing that ebook, structuring out your ideas, figuring out your keynotes, what you're going to talk about on a podcast, the research, the stories, all those things, it really helps to have a structure around that. All right, check, covered. Next, we covered how to multiply time. Now, multiplying time is something that I've discovered the top practice owners do every single day. So you all know that I've been working on the book that's called Becoming Giants. That's all about how to become one of those top practice owners in your city or in your state or even in the nation. And I've been interviewing people. I've got podcasts actually next month coming out with some of those interviews. I've been looking at what my consulting friends are doing when they work with those people that are helping multi-six-figure practices grow. And one of the biggest indicators I find is people's ability to multiply time. Now, this is really important when you're looking at doing a project like launching an ebook, because we all have these world-changing ideas, such as writing an ebook, that we don't have time for. And so what happens is we have this great idea that's genuinely going to help the world, but it goes on the back burner because we haven't structured our time appropriately. So a couple things that I do on a regular basis is there's Joe in his car. Is I think in my car. So On the way into work, I evaluate, is listening to NPR and hearing the news this morning important? Sometimes it is. Sometimes I just want a mental break. Is listening to a new podcast and consuming new information worth it? Sometimes it is, because I want to build my skill set specifically for my consulting clients or my mastermind groups. Or is it better to just turn off the radio and to brainstorm, and to think, and to let my brain just go all over the place? This is multiplying time in so many different ways, because, yeah, I'm driving to work, but I'm also multitasking. Finding ways that I can outsource things. What can I take off my plate that I can pay somebody $15 an hour so that I can go in consulting, make $795 an hour? Or so that I can make, $1,000 an hour in a mastermind group? Or all these other things that it's like, if I had a team of people that I could just hand things off to, it helps me multiply my time. Now, when you hear numbers like that, you're often like, if you're like me a couple years ago, like, well, that's fine. People like Joe can do that. But it didn't start that way. It actually started where I was working at a community college. And while I was at that community college, I had 1099 contractors that were doing counseling over at a practice. I had a virtual assistant that was checking my voicemail and calling people and scheduling intakes. And I was making that money at my full-time job. And so I had all these other people that were working for me. And with the contractors, I only paid them if money came in. So I did nothing out of pocket there. The person answering the phone was paid $15 an hour, which I think I was probably making $25 an hour at my full-time job. So yeah, I was losing money, but that was getting people that were higher price point into my private practice. So top people multiply time, which then helps them block their schedule. And so today's the 27th. So if you were to look at my schedule, which I'm not going to show you because there's confidential things in there, but you would see that there are repeating things in my calendar that I consistently block out on a repeating level, but that I also block out when I know I have things to do. And so rather than just keep some big to-do list, I will just go into my calendar and say, when am I going to do that, and take it out of my brain. And so if it's, I'm going to work on an ebook, I might put, okay, next Wednesday for an hour, I'm going to just block out, I'm going to work on that ebook. And then I might put in there, okay, mail this certain thing out. And then this area right here is for consulting client. All right. And then here it's some follow-up emails. So when we start to block out our time, it makes it way easier to be able to make time for that ebook on an ongoing basis. All right. So we've done that. We know our why. Then we move into the writing of the ebook, which a lot of you are still, you're in the midst of it right now. Whether or not you totally completed an ebook in this month, I really don't care. I am so proud of every one of you that's here, every one of you that watches this, and every one of you that participated, because you took some sort of step towards your big goal, which is super amazing. So what we do is we take this brainstorm, this mess of ideas, which, for me, it looks like this often. For you, it might look different, but we talked early on in the World Changers Challenge about why it's important to just get that information out. Just put it in there, put it on a piece of paper, brainstorm the heck out of it so that you just get it down. And then we want to start to organize it. Now, we talked about how books that are in the New York Times bestsellers, the top 200 TED Talks, top keynotes, they all have the exact same formula. 40, 40, 20. 40% of a chapter are stories, 40% of a chapter is research, and 20% is the big takeaway. And so we talk about how though that method is really important, that method helps us to be able to have engaging content. So for example, if I only give you information, it's not going to help you grow. Whereas if I say, you know what, let me tell you a story about this chipmunk, or let me tell you this story about when I was scuba diving, or there was actually this airline pilot that the pilot, it was about to go down, but then he realized that if he treated this giant airline like a Cessna, he actually might be able to survive, even though statistically every other flight that had these problems actually went down. That's actually a true story. And I could go into all of that. But in your books, we want to make sure that we have story, research, maybe then another story, then some more research, and then another story, and then some points. When you're doing that over and over and over, it helps create engaging content that helps people to want to stay there and to really connect with you. The other thing that we want to make sure we take away is that a book really is just a list of lists. You have 3 parts in most books. Within those parts, we might have a handful of chapters, A, B, C, and then under each of those, we have maybe 3 to 5 points. And when you structure it out that way, it makes it a lot easier to write. Because say we're writing a book about the importance of being outside in regards to depression. If we had 3 different parts, we might say the typical model, the environment, and then what could be. Typical model, let's talk a little bit about some stories about the history of depression and institutionalization of people that are interesting stories, interesting research. Why didn't that work? Then what happened? People were deinstitutionalized. So that led into kind of the environment. What's happening now where people don't spend time outside as much? Why is that important? What does the research say in general? But then what's the research say in regards to depression? And then we might want to look at what's happening with kids. Who's writing about this? So maybe we cite Last Child in the Woods, nature deficit disorder, all these different things that people have written about in regards to the environment, and then tying that back to depression. Then we start to dream about what could be. We say, well, this could be a model. And here's some support of that in story and research. And here's another model. And here's another model. Here's another model. So we're doing a list of lists ahead of time. So then when we go back to write it, it's super easy. All right. So then next, as we're building our ebook, we want to make sure we're really looking at the design. So we finish it up. We do the editing. We have people read through it. We read chapters out loud. It's as good as it can be. And then we want to look at the design. We want beautiful cover art that looks good. We want to have the inside of it look good. I want to actually share my screen real quick with you. Give me just a second here. All right, so I'm going to share this screen with you. And I want to show you, this is our book, Adding Insurance to Your Practice. And so if you just go on Amazon and type in Adding Insurance to Your Practice, you'll see it. If you look inside, you'll see that we have all sorts of, let's see how far it'll let us show you. It might just show you a little bit, just the chapters. But it looks pretty. Sam did an awesome job making this look pretty. All right. So when you make it look good, it's a lot easier to sell as well. So you want to make sure you invest in, whether it's using Canva yourself or whether you're paying somebody to make some beautiful artwork to make it look good. Study the practices and the books that you are attracted to. And so we might go on. Let me do a screen share again. So I might go into insurance or into Amazon, and I might say business book. And so I look at this and I say, well, what stands out to me? Well, I kind of like how there's this black and white and red. That red really pops. I kind of like this all white. Tools of Titans. There's a lot of color going on there, but I like how there's just a clean kind of icon there. Well, it seems like this High Performance Habits has a similar look to Tools of Titans. So I'm noticing some trends here. To me, this seems kind of cheesy, so we're not going to do that. This one, not so much. So then you start to look at what you're drawn to. I kind of like how there's a balloon and a brick. That's interesting. So you start to then look at what you're drawn to, what you like, what you don't like. All in, women entrepreneurs. That's kind of cool how they have that 70s look, but it still looks fresh. So then we come back, and we're going to stop sharing for a second there. And we say, well, what do I want in my book cover? What do I want with my marker too? Where did I put it? There it is. Okay. And then after that, we're going to launch. So how do you launch? Well, a few different things in regards to how you launch. We're going to want to look at, first, you actually like launch it on Amazon. But as soon as it's launched, you want to have some sort of audience that's ready to help you out, to help you rank in Amazon, to review it. Getting stars in Amazon is really important. And so for me, this private practice book about insurance, I'm going to email my list and say, hey, this is available now. And I may do a promo code for people to get it free or for 99 cents or something like that. To then, I would love a 5-star review. Same thing with all of you. I would love for you guys to go give a review on, I've listened to Joe's podcast. This guy's solid. I went actually to this webinar. We want to get those 5-star reviews as fast as we can. We want comments on it. We want people to shout it out. As well, you might want to directly email some friends and say, hey, I launched this. Would you mind sharing this on Facebook? I just shared it on Facebook. It's a book I've been working so much. Oh, Stephanie, sorry I sound like a robot. I hope that if you come on Chrome, I don't sound like a robot. Do I sound like a robot to other people? Let me know if I sound like a robot. I hope I don't to everybody. Okay, Linda says no. Beth says no. Alicia says no. All right, yeah, Chrome's the way to go, definitely. Absolutely. And if you can turn your Wi-Fi off and plug in, it sounds even less robotic. All right, so then also with your launch, what you want to be doing is you want to make sure people know about it. You want to be, especially in Amazon, you can offer it for free to people. You can make it so that tons of people can read it quickly. You want to do a quick, short period of time that people get it in their hands. Send out PDFs of it. Get the word out. It's not about making the money on it in the beginning, because the more that people are talking about it, the easier it'll be to make money on it later on. Okay, covered a lot of what we've already covered, and now I want to make sure that we hit on a bunch of questions. I also want to make sure that we talk about our winners and then what's coming up next. Again, if you have questions down below, you'll see a questions section. I want to make sure that this webinar is highly valuable for you to keep working on your ebook, to help you keep growing so that you can have an amazing ebook that gets out into the world and genuinely changes it for the better. All right. So Jana says, I have a specific question about pricing. Not sure if you're going to talk about that today. If not, I'll post it on the Facebook later. I intend my ebook to be a free resource for clients and colleagues, but I wonder about putting it on Amazon for a small price like $2.99, but I'd like to give people I know promo codes to access it free. Can I do that? Actually, Jana, that is a great question. I would say I would go up a little bit higher than $2.99. Maybe $3.99 or $4.99, so that when you give a discount, people are like, holy cow, I just saved $5 instead of $2. People, when there's a 99-cent or a $1.99 book, they're like, oh, I'm not sure if it's going to be worth it. But in general, I'd say go high, and then with your promos, get it out there. And then later on, you can always drop it down to $2.99 after that kind of initial bubble. So we initially were going to do $2.99 for that private practice insurance book. Decided to do $7.99 so that people had to be on my email list, had to be a part of the World Changers Challenge, had to have some way that they're connected with me to get that promo code. Within Amazon, you can do promotions. And let me see if I can show you. Let me do a screen share real quick. To share screen, bounce over here. I'm going to go down all the way to self-publish with us. All right. So say I wanted to promote mental wellness. I could go right over here, and I would do a free book promotion. We're going to do a free book promotion. Start date, let's actually start it today. End date tomorrow. Save changes. All right, so success, it was added. Now let's just check it. I'm going to go to Amazon. We're going to do mental wellness parenting. All right. So right now, you will see that the Kindle edition is free. And I'll just leave that up for all of you to have as like a free resource. So that's how you make it free. So you don't have to tell anybody. If you just tell your friends and family, hey, will you just, if you want this, head on over there. Today's a free promotion day. So just like I did, nobody else knows except for you secret people. All right. I think I hit that. Jana, if you have extra questions, please ask more. All right. Shelly says, once the ebook is actually written, getting there. Awesome. Keep it up, Shelly. How do I publish it? Through Amazon, etc. I haven't looked into the tech stuff yet, so I'm curious how difficult or technical it is or what that process looks like. Okay, so one thing I want you to do, I'm going to share my screen again. I should just probably leave it up, is head on over to the Facebook group. And you will see that there's probably a faster way I could have done that. If you scroll down, Sam did a few, come on, scroll. It's having a little bit of a load time. So Sam did, let's go over to videos. Samantha, she did a bunch of videos about Kindle Textbook Creator and ways to upload there. And that's going to be really helpful to get the initial stages going for you. And so what you'll want to do is start there. If you get stuck, reach out to us in the World Changers Challenge. But really, they make it really easy for you within the Kindle launch to get it set up. And so that's going to walk you through exactly when you're ready how to publish that stuff. It's not hard. It's not technical. If you get stuck, you can Google how to publish to Kindle, and there's a billion awesome videos that are out there. And if anybody finds those videos that they love, please drop them into the World Changers Challenge so that we can all have those resources. Shelly, if that didn't answer your question, feel free to drop another one in here. All right, Dr. Angela Johnson says, referencing and sources for an ebook, is hyperlink and bibliography enough, or do you need to footnote everything with index, etc., like a journal article? Books are a little bit different. I kind of like the footnote model because it doesn't interrupt as much, because if someone clicks on a link within your ebook, they're more likely to go there, they get distracted, end up on Facebook, all of that. Whereas if it goes to a footnote, then you can kind of put your own comments around it too. Like if you look at most business books, they won't just say it's this book. They'll say, oh my gosh, I love Smarter, Faster, Better by Charles Duhigg. It totally changed my life. This is from page 41 from the 2015 edition as well. Here's some extra things, and it adds some extra kind of text to it, like a little kind of secret behind the scenes. And so I think that's probably, just from a user standpoint and a reader standpoint, more effective than just doing straight up like APA style. You do if you're directly quoting someone, if you are grabbing research, if you are using someone else's story, you want to cite that stuff to the best of your ability. And because it's an ebook, it's dynamic. So if later on you find something that you didn't cite, you can always upload an updated copy, which Amazon actually likes seeing those updated copies. All right. Stephanie says, how do we input a disclaimer in the book? Seek professional help if needed. I am a big fan of at the beginning of your book. I don't know if I have mental wellness parenting right here. I do. Let's see. So like at the beginning, at this section, the very beginning, it says mental wellness counseling. Oh, look at that. I misnamed my own book. It should be mental wellness parenting. Need a better editor. Nonetheless, some of the is a work of nonfiction. Nonetheless, some of the names and personal characteristics of individuals or events have been changed in order to disguise identities. Any resulting resemblance to persons living or dead is entirely coincidental and unintentional. And then legal stuff. I put, this publication is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is provided with the understanding that the author and publisher are not engaged in rendering legal, accounting, counseling, or other professional services. If legal advice or other expert assistance is required, the service of a competent professional should be sought. All names in this book are changed, as well as identifying features to align with HIPAA and FERPA and protect the client's identity. Also, please don't copy this book illegally. So I have that right at the beginning. And then at the end, I have a little promo about mental wellness counseling, now accepting new clients. I have also some counseling subjects, practice resources, spaces for notes, just a few other things in the back here. So I would say having it a few different places is really important because you are a trained professional. You don't want it to be perceived as this is counseling. Also, you don't want to get yourself in a legally compromised situation. And if at all possible, I would say you want to consult your own attorney just to make sure that you have dotted your T's and crossed your I's. Cool, I think that answers that one. Jana says, can you also do promo codes the same way you just explained the free book promotion period? Let me look in Amazon real quick. So you can run a price promotion within Amazon where it's a specific space of time. But let me just show you how Gumroad works. All right, so let's share screen. Gumroad's another way you can deliver your ebook. All right, so it looks a little crazy for a second there. So we're going to go into Gumroad. Gumroad is where where all of my products sit in regards to kind of digital download. And so I have all of these products that are in here. And so, for example, I have my private practice forms. And so it's $195 for that. You can see how much I've made over, I don't know what period of time that is. Maybe that's all forever. But for example, like we have our issue 2 of the Private Practice magazine. So this one was all about starting a practice. And so this we sold for $7.99. And then there's certain promo codes that if you go to this, and now you know all my promo codes, but that's okay. So I have one that it's called Stroven, another one that's I Know Joe, so that's totally free all the time. I Am a Writer, so the writers got it all for $2. Sponsors got it for $2.99. I screwed up with something, and so I sent out Joe Screwed Up, and then I Know Amy was used once. And so you can then have an ongoing promo code. That's what I really like about Gumroad. They also have a really nice dashboard that you can look at. So you can look at all your products over a certain period of time. So like if I wanted to know, I mean, we launched that a while ago. So let's see, our summer issue. Oh, well, we made $50 off of it this month. Cool. Well, $50 is better than I expected since we aren't promoting it at all. So it's a dinner out with my wife. All right, so we'll stop sharing that. So I would say Gumroad's best if you want an ongoing promotion. And that question, Katie says, how do we address copywriting for our ebook to be sure that it is not copied or reproduced? For most of us, I wouldn't even spend the time worrying about that. If someone copies your book, that's probably going to take you more time to be up on that over the long haul than it's worth. In any given month, between all of my ebooks, I think the biggest month I've had was a $200 month. I'm not actively trying to make money off of those. It's more building my expertise so that people are more likely to trust me and do my higher end products, so that they'll sign up for a $600 a month mastermind group, or $800 a month in consulting, or some $17 product that I have for people starting a practice. It gets your name out there, it builds your SEO. In general, making money off of your ebook won't be the number 1 thing that you do, but it will help in a number of other ways. And so you can check every once in a while. You can use a plagiarism checker if you want. You can take a text of your book and then just drop it into any plagiarism checker. It'll show if anywhere on the internet that thing is popping up. So you can do that. I personally think it's a big waste of your time. If somebody does that, it's going to hurt their SEO. It's not going to help you. You can send them a cease and desist letter. But for the most part, I don't think it's going to really help you that much to put that time into it. Length for an ebook. And I would say yes and no. And so yes, the minimum length, I mean, you want to make sure it's hardy enough that it captures something. Otherwise, it's just a worksheet. If it's 2 pages, to call it an ebook is kind of like, it's not really an ebook. So I would say probably 10 pages, 8 pages, somewhere in there. to say you have a kind of a small ebook. I wouldn't sell that on Amazon if it's that short, because you're probably going to get more negative reviews than positive reviews. But I would say that if you're giving it away for free on your website as an email opt-in, if it's a way to help people get into your practice, if it's a way for you to kind of scale up your expertise, then it kind of doesn't matter. So for me, one of my free opt-ins on Practice the Practice is a 28-step checklist on how to start a practice. I don't call it an ebook, I call it a checklist. And so I think it's 3 pages long. So if it's that small, I'd say it's smarter to have it be a checklist, a worksheet, something like that. If you're up to like 8 or 9 pages, that's approaching ebook territory. And so you really want to do your best to be there and writing kind of whatever it is that's going to capture your topic area. Now, is there a maximum? There's definitely not a maximum. I mean, 400-page books or ebooks. It's just an electronic book. But for most of us, I would rather see you break down your book into shorter 20-page books that are specific around one part of the concern. So about symptoms of depression, then about treatment of depression. And then, because then it's like you've got all these ebooks that are out there that are $3.99 versus one ebook that's $9.99. And people only wanted one portion of it. And so I would really put in some time into kind of breaking it down, maybe more than what you would have in the past. Sometime in January, we're going to be launching the 3rd World Changers Challenge. And so we've done 2 up till this point. We've done this ebook. And then back in June, we did one that was all about launching your kind of big idea, exploring your big idea and launching it. So the natural next step, after you've written an ebook that I've heard from people from the survey and from just kind of chatting with people, is how do you start an email list and grow it quickly? And so our next World Changers Challenge is going to be all about how do you get 100 people on your email list in 2 weeks? How do you go from either 0 or 50 or wherever you're at to get 100 more people on your email list really quickly? What are the tactics you use? How do you do automated emails? Walking you through exactly how to do that. Can't wait to help you with it, because an email list it's such a good way to scale up your business. If you're at 20,000 and you want to get to 70,000, that's the thing you've got to be doing. People say email's dead, but it's totally not dead. And so I'm super excited that sometime in January, I have to kind of look at when everything lines up with me, when we kind of come down from the holiday season. Want to make sure that we have 2 weeks that we can just dive into launching an email list. So make sure you stay in the group. You'll see some of the branding change. The name of the group will continue to change each time. You guys all rock. Thanks so much for letting me into your ears and into your brain on a regular basis. I know that life is busy. There's so many people that you could follow and that you could have kind of inform your practice. And it's truly an honor to work with you guys, to share with you. If you didn't complete your book, don't let it die now. Give yourself another month. Keep kicking butt on it. And you guys completely rock. I'm so pumped also to see you guys finish this. Keep going. You can do it. I'm just a regular Joe here in Northern Michigan that just kept moving forward. And, honestly, I just kept moving forward. I'm no different than you. So you can totally do whatever you want. Level up, scale up, grow. You are going to kick butt. And I can't wait to see what you guys create.